George has asked me to go back to when I was back to 2011 when I was going through my radiotherapy and my chemotherapy treatment. As I said before, I've got PEG, which is that's my belly button. That's where the PEG was inserted, and I couldn't eat or drink. I couldn't drink water. Couldn't eat anything. Couldn't talk. I used to do hand signals to my wife, so she could understand what I was thinking all the time. Couldn't drive, couldn't work, couldn't barely leave the house. I was a bit afraid of if I caught a cold, I could drown in my own snot when I was lying on the radiation table because I'm held down by the mesh.
So that was your food coming in through a tube.
My food coming in through a tube, yeah.
Not food, but that's what.
I had a food, and I
nothing else.
No, I had these. They're called Ensure Plus, and it would come in a little carton, and I would.
What about water?
That was the water as well.
Water, food, everything.
Everything, yeah.
For 5 months, yeah. I couldn't imagine that. I couldn't cope with that. I don't think there'd be too many people. You must be a very disciplined person, Graham. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's Grant.
Grant, sorry, I got the
right.
chemo fog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I did do was, as I said before, I was a martial arts instructor for a long time. So what I started to do was I did what I call my Tai Chi Aikido. So I did my Aikido movements in very, very slow form, but I had to do them sitting down. So I was sitting down in Caesar, and I did my Tai Chi Aikido movements for about 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the night and 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day. So it's about 5 or 6 hours a day. And that gave me something to focus on. You could use Tai Chi if you like, but I don't know Tai Chi, but I know Aikido, so that's what I did. It made my Aikido pretty good, even though I couldn't, and I didn't do it standing up because when I was standing up, I realised how unstable I was, so I didn't like that. So I did it sitting down in Caesar, which is sitting on your feet in that kneeling stance that people do in dojos. I had a very good family, so that was. But I basically was in pretty well lockdown for 5 months. And when I did go back to work, I just helped my wife out a little bit, and I was exhausted by the end of the day. Whether I've got the squamous cell carcinoma up here and the Bowman's cancer on the side, or Bowman's cancer. Whether they're associated, I personally think they're associated with the radiotherapy treatment I have. I don't know whether they are or not. It's just healing up now. I've got some cream to put on it.
I would say, Grant, there's every likelihood that would be caused by the radiation or the chemotherapy.
Yeah,
because you sign a disclaimer before treatment. They warn you that it can give you cancer.
I haven't had a doctor tell me that.
No, I would say educated guess there's every likelihood that was.
Yeah. And I also lost 10 teeth over the ordeal because they got burned out by the radiotherapy treatment. It was pretty rough, and a lot of blokes don't survive it.
Pretty rough. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
And they don't, not much support. They keep telling you you're going to die. You're dying.
I was told 30 times, I think, before I started treatment that I was going to die at Christmas time. That was Christmas time 2011.
Was that in Westmead Public Hospital?
Yeah.
That's what they do. I had that the same myself.
They didn't actually say you're going to die. They just implied that I was going to make it till Christmas, and then there was a full stop after that.
And also when they tell you to be positive.
Oh, look. The thing, when we went out anywhere, and if anybody said, just think positive, my darling wife, who I adore, would take my hand, we would stand and we would leave. And I would do that because as a martial arts instructor I can fight pretty well, and she didn't, even in my feeble state, she didn't want me dropping blokes. So I would get the heck out of it. Just think positive. It upset me more than you can believe. And basically I wouldn't talk to people if I thought that they were going to say that. That was just so upsetting because there's so much more you can do than just think positive. And the body cannot think positive. The mind cannot think positive while the body is going through negative. It just doesn't work. The body and the mind go together.
You're lying to yourself to say think positive because you know that there's nothing positive about it. You understand the sickness, and what's the Cancer Council of New South Wales? They tell you in their book to be positive, be positive. Westmead Public Hospital, they told me be positive, be positive.
You can have a positive attitude, but you just can't sit there and think happy thoughts while things are going on. It's not what I did when I was on the operating table, on the radiation table, as I took my mind off to either the beach with my family when I was much younger, or mountain training, which I do for Misogi training, which is an Aikido thing. I was up in the mountains doing my Aikido training, and I was quite happy up there. One time, just to see what it was like, I kept my mind on the table, and it was terrifying.
So the bottom line is, after all of this hell on earth, you didn't get what you were expecting it.
What did I expect?
Well, you expected, you didn't expect to get the cancer on your face.
Yeah.
You didn't expect to be fed food and water for you.
Yeah, I was told that would happen.
You're told that.
Yeah, I was told that would happen. I was not given any alternatives.
So they could have made it a lot clearer.
No, well, they made it fairly clear. I wasn't keen on doing it, so they made it fairly clear, and they didn't hold anything back. They said I'd be fed by peg.
Yeah, it's but they didn't mention that chemotherapy is made from Folfox or anything like that.
No, but I knew that it was.
You knew that it was, but you didn't want to take it, but your family was sort of. Is that how I understand it, Grant? Your family was sort of...
Look, I wouldn't have done it, except that I am a married man, I have family, and yeah, you've got to...
They believed that chemotherapy was the way to go.
Well, in those days, I didn't know enough to know any different.
I know you didn't, but they thought that's the way to go, expert opinion. So naturally, they said, "Yeah, take it, Dad. Take it, Grant."
Well, there wasn't any. It was, as far as we were concerned, there was that or death, and they said that my death would be long and suffering. So it was that or a long suffering death. So I didn't. At the time, I didn't really have much in the way of alternatives. I didn't know then what I know now. I hadn't done my due diligence back when I was healthy, and so we get caught. And then when you're in panic mode, it's very hard to think clearly.
Well, the way I see it, Grant, the chemotherapy and radiation therapy, it's not an option, mate. You know, you never had a chance from the start. You know, that's how I see it. And you know, they can fiddle around with the stats and that, but you know.
My understanding of it now is that chemotherapy is detrimental to the body 97.5% of the time, and it actually has a positive outcome 2.5% of the time, and that's how it works.
Okay. What about the radiation therapy?
Well, I wasn't given any alternatives. The cancer that I had didn't bother me at all. So I was completely unaffected by the cancer, except I felt a little lump just here. And I was told it was a squamous cell carcinoma P16, the type that non-smokers and non-drinkers get. I'm a moderate drinker, but that didn't bother me at all. But the treatments just knocked the shit out of me. Knocked me for flat, and it knocked me down very quickly. I went from very fit to very feeble.
So just to wrap this up, the take home for everyone from this, as I understand it, is if you hadn't have taken the chemotherapy and radiation and done different things, you know, because chemotherapy is an alternative, and same with radiation therapy. That's an alternative to good stuff you could have done. Do you think? I think you probably have a better outcome.
I have this argument with my sisters all the time. They say, you had radiation and chemotherapy and you're alive. And I go, yes, I had radiation and chemotherapy and the other stuff, and I am alive. Am I alive because of it? That's the question. I don't know. Could I be more alive, had more of my teeth still in my head, less of the other stuff? If I'd have gone today, I would follow Dr. Glidden's. Dr. Glidden has it worked out pretty well. Dr. Wallach has it worked out very well. I would go that way, and that's to do with nutrition, and not eating bad foods and eating good foods, and hammering it hard with nutrition. Minerals, amino acids, vitamins, fatty acids and herbs, and they have it worked out very well, and the batting average is, in my opinion, much higher.
Okay, Grant. Thank you for this interview, and thank you for telling it from your heart what happened, and I feel for you and your family and any person with cancer. But the question I put now at the end of this video, I put this to Professor Adnan Nagriel at Westmead Public Hospital, and to the New South Wales Health and Research Minister, Brad Hazzard. Let's have a debate about this. If you think that Grant's mistaken or I'm mistaken, please correct us. We urge you to comment in the comment section, and urge you to we'll have an interview with you, Mr. Hazzard, Health and Research Minister, and for that matter, New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet. Gladys buried corrupt. Gladys got the sack, and Professor Nagriel from Sydney University, Westmead Public Hospital. We'll sit down and we'll do a recorded interview, and you tell us where you think that this is incorrect, because I think it's on the mark. Okay, then. Thanks again, Grant, and we'll keep in touch. It's lovely to meet you, mate. And
thanks, George.
I feel for you, mate. And
life's good. I'm happy to be alive.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's always there, mate. And then you got this other problem. And you might be alive, and you say you don't know if it's the chemo. I'd say that's got nothing to do with it, mate. You've got beautiful blue eyes, mate.